champions with Triforce starting to come into play. Obviously, we saw Corki come back into the meta as well. So, and Aurelia at the minute is kind of just an absolute powerball.
Yeah, she's so good, especially when you get that Triforce and you hit your mid-game spike. She starts to roam around. The fact that there's a TP meta, actually, at the moment is one of the reasons why she's so strong, because she excels when she can go do something when she picks up that Triforce. And prior to TP being the primary spell of choice, a while back now, part of the reason why she wasn't played is she couldn't really afford to leave the lane. The tower would die. The split pushing stuff was going on really big around then. And she couldn't actually make an impact as soon as she picked up that Triforce. But now that she can with that TP, she's actually spiked in popularity because she can do what she does best in the current metagame. Some of the other bans we see coming out here, we've got Janna and Jace banned for PKP. For Log-S, we've got Vi and Jarvan. Now, Vi and Jarvan are interesting ones in my opinion. They're junglers that we haven't really seen make a huge impact, especially in the new jungle, the 4.20 jungle. They're junglers who were very strong on 4.19, but Jarvan especially, he was all about ganking in that early game. He was about, clearing his camps pretty quick, ganking, providing a lot of, stats to his team if they wanted to go for a push with his standard of Demacia, for example. Whereas now he has to stay in the jungle a little bit more in order to actually get the amount of experience and gold he needs. So it's an interesting ban, and it must be something that we're seeing. Maybe we're seeing those level 2 ganks over in Asia a bit more frequently than we are in the West. But Xerath being the final ban, we're going to see a Gnar locked in. Gnar, he was popular on 4.19, and that hasn't disappeared on 4.20. He is such a strong and dominant top lane pick.
Yeah, in all honesty, a little bit surprised we didn't see that banned out, but I'm just going to say, I think we should maybe try and sync up our streams a little bit. I think you're about 10 seconds ahead of me.
What quality are you watching on?
I am watching on maximum quality, 720p. I am at 52. Actually, I might be able to skip forwards a bit.
Try hitting skip ahead to live broadcast, yeah.
Okay, we've got a Nami soft locked, and I'm 45 seconds into champ. Is that accurate?
You're like 2 seconds ahead of me now, but that's probably close enough.
Close enough.
I'll try
that's better than it was before. So yeah, we are going to see a Thresh Thresh Corki, so instantly locking in their bottom lane, and we're going to see the Logitech snipers answering straight away with their bottom lane as well. So we're just going to see Gnar locked in, and then both bottom lanes. And interesting pickups. What do you think of these two bot lanes?
I think it's pretty interesting, actually. Obviously, Corki plus Thresh is a fairly aggressive bottom lane that can do a lot of burst damage, and if you get hit by a hook, you are going to get chunked. However, by picking up the Nami Lucian, they've actually got a decent way of dealing with that, which is just sort of kiting around, not trying to go for 2 all-in plays. They're really just planning on dealing with the aggression coming out of PKP, and if the cooldowns are down on Thresh and Corki, they can definitely make something happen, but they are the more passive bottom lane out of these two, and they actually do a good job of avoiding a lot of that all-in potential coming out of PKP's bot lane. So I like that bot lane. They're deciding that they don't really want to go toe-to-toe too much early on. They just want to sustain up with the Nami. If they get hit by some poke or dash away with the Lucian, they can try and get a knock-up on Corki if he tries to go in, that kind of thing. So it's a nice combination to deal with the Thresh Corki. Now we're looking at the next second rotation lock-ins for PKP. They've got Syndra and Rumble going for that double AP comp. Double AP is actually something that we've been seeing come back a lot in 4.20 due to the difficulty in getting that magic resist now.
Yeah, obviously the Negatron cloak actually being removed from the game entirely. Now you just have the null magic mantle, and that obviously the gold increase and slight MR increase as well, but it's kind of just like a middle ground item now. So you either go, well, like for example, Abyssal Scepter now is 2 null magic mantles and a blasting wand rather than the Negatron cloak. So it's going to be harder to just sort of go, okay, they're doing a lot of AP damage. I don't want to go straight into a tier 3 AP item. I'll just pick up a Negatron cloak, let that sit in my inventory, and have that passive magic resist. Let me be a little bit tankier. You can't really do that as much now, because obviously to get that same sort of effect from it, you'd have to buy 2 null magic mantles, and obviously that takes up 2 inventory spots and 1,000 gold.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, regardless of how gold efficient it is, something that you don't often hear talked about is slot efficiency. And going for 2 null magic mantles is very bad slot efficiency, so that it's very unlikely we'll see anyone actually go for that. The good news is that, looking at the side of Logitech snipers, we've got Gnar, who's going to be able to stay quite far out of range when he's in his small form from that rumble, and might not necessarily need to rush into that magic resistance straight away. And you've also got Ahri, who can dodge around, get out of the equalizer really quickly. Lucian can dash around. The problem is going to be that if you look at the front line for LogS, they've got this Pantheon pickup as one of their last 2 lock-ins. And Pantheon excels when he can build damage, and he's not going to be able to build that much damage against a team with so much damage. Because if you look at PKP's lineup, we've got Corki, we've got Rengar, we've got Syndra, we've got Rumble. All of those champions do damage, even the front line, So the Pantheon needs to be careful not to get popped when he tries to go in on the back line of PKP. And even if he does manage to kill someone really quickly, there's still a lot of damage coming out of PKP, and if they play it right, they've got a lot of kite potential as well, because you got the Equalizer slowing people down, you got the box slowing people down, you got Syndra's Scatter the Weak knocking people back. All of these things mean that there's going to be a lot of time available to PKP to keep doing damage in the fight. Really what LogS need to be doing with this team composition is going in with Gnar and hitting a massive ultimate, followed by a tidal wave, and during that time getting some big AoE damage coming down from Ahri, Lucian, trying to pick off probably Syndra or Corki first, and then making sure they defend Lucian afterwards against that Rengar pickup who's going to try and go in and burst him.
Yeah, I do like the team composition from PKP as well. I mean, I was a little bit skeptical when they picked up the Rumble and the Syndra along with Corki. Obviously, Corki, a good chunk of his damage is AP as well. So I was thinking, you don't really want too much. I mean, it just means that the enemy can optimize one kind of resistance, obviously. However, now that they've picked up that Rengar, they're going to have that strong AD damage coming through. And obviously Corki, a good amount of his damage is AD from his auto attacks. So with the Rengar jungle, they are going to have that AD damage threat, forcing their opponents to build defensive armor as well. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But the only snag I can think of is really they don't have much in the way of a tank.
Yeah, that is definitely kind of a problem for both these teams. Gnar can be tanky, but if he wants to deal with Snow in the top lane, there's good potential that he's going to be going for a decent amount of damage early on, just so that he can shove the wave against that Flame Spitter and harass Snow out of lane, which is something that he really needs to be able to do. So, we are now into game. We've got LogS, of course, Logitech Snipers versus Papa Cat Fan Papa, PKP, and this game's a pretty big game. We were talking about it earlier. Whoever loses this best of 3 is completely out of the qualifiers for IEM Taipei, so it's a huge match.
Yeah, these guys... obviously it's best of 3, so the first game, they can afford to lose it, but the momentum that you get from winning your first game is absolutely huge. Not just, obviously, meaning you have that kind of barrier, you have that 1 game advantage that you could afford to then lose the next game and still be in, but also mentally the sort of mindset that your team is going to be in and that the enemy team is going to be in is absolutely huge coming into the second game.
Definitely, and it's one of those things where, I'm sure if you were to look at the statistics for it, if you lose your first game, you're most likely going to lose that series. The comeback sweeps where you go 2-1 are much less common, and at the very least a part of that is due to the mental stress of having lost a game and that damaging your morale. So I agree with what you're saying there for sure, and looking at this level 1, not really anything too interesting coming out, except for arguably the fact that neither team's actually gone forward for deep wards, and that's partially due to the fact that both of the teams were playing quite far up and defending the entrances to the jungle, but normally we see, people trading that in order to get those deep wards. And the map isn't new, so it looks like we're actually playing on the old patch. Yeah,
I was about to say, we're actually playing on 4.19 here, so all of that stuff we were saying about Negatron Cloak, forget it. you can remember that in future tournaments, but interestingly not seeing any lane swaps. I kind of half expected this Lucian army to want to go up in that top lane, and obviously they're gonna, the Thresh and Corki would quite happily be able to bully a Rumble out of lane, and Lucian Nami would be quite happy to lane up against that Gnar. They'd be more than comfortable. So it could have been quite a good swap for Corki and Thresh, but obviously not going for that one.
I definitely agree with that, especially because Snow on Rumble is going to be having a little bit of trouble with SCCB. He's got so much range, and he's got so much physical damage poke that Rumble can't really itemize the way that he wants to against a Gnar. We see Rumble was mostly being a pickup against Maokai back on 4.19, which is the patch that this tournament's on, due to the fact that, he would get a lot of damage out for very few spellcasts. Flamespitters does a ton of DPS, and it's only one spellcast, which means Maokai's passive doesn't actually get many stacks from that harassment, so he's not going to be healing up and sustaining against it properly. This is an interesting play here. We see Hot Dog coming up with J. Kane, going for the invade together, and if Illusion had decided to go to those wolves, he would have found a very unpleasant surprise waiting there for himself. But thankfully he made a good read on that and decided to go back to base. He's not going to be giving up that early first blood. Top lane, look already, there's a bit of a CS differential starting. There's already 6 CS more on the side of SCCB, and if you look at the health, it's not too bad, but that's because Snow has to stay so far away in order to stop himself from getting hit by those boomerang throws.
Yeah, we see a similar CS differential in this bottom lane as well. Already 7-8 CS ahead in favor of Lucian, and that's definitely not a good thing this early. And looking at the minions, it's not even that there's a big wave waiting to be CS'd, it's just that, quite simply, Catlet is just falling behind at this stage.
It's weird too, considering the fact that we actually saw Hot Dog go help J. Kane counter jungle. So that Lucian,
we are going to see Pantheon flashing in this mid lane. There's the charm to follow. The ignite is ticking. Can they finish it off? A beautiful scat of the week is going to save Joazzy's life, and he's going to be able to get away from that one. 2 flashes and an ignite burn for that.
That was very close to being bad, though. Thankfully, the Scout of the Week managed to hit both of the targets, even though if you look at where they were placed, they were on either side of the cone. That very easily could have only hit one of them if it was placed just a tiny bit wrong.
Oh, beautiful hook, though, straight through the minions. Is going to land onto Hot Dog. The ignite is ticking. It's not going to be enough, though. Lat now on the front line. He's trying to pick up the kill onto Catlet. I don't think he's got the damage right now. There's the Ty Collar's Blessing, but he's going to have to back away from this one. The Ebb and Flow going to keep him topped up as he walks away.
Yeah, Lat didn't quite have enough mana there to make sure he could keep proccing his passive Light Slinger. Had he been able to do that, had he been able to get one more Piercing Light down followed by a Light Slinger, he may have been able to pick up Catlet, though. Unfortunately for him, though, there's still heal on Catlet. So the most likely scenario, had he had mana, was that it was just going to burn the heal. Having said that, it would have been useful because they would have been on the same heal cooldown, which would have been very good for future engagements. Now, the bot lane of LogS is significantly behind if they do decide to fight straight up, so
yeah,
there's going to be a while where they're not doing that. However, if you talk about the dynamics of the lane like we were in the pregame, this is a lane that you would be expecting the trades to go in favor of PKP, and afterwards LogS is just going to be sustaining up.
Yeah.
Top lane, though, going again just as expected. SCCB is putting down so much harassment on Snow, and the CS lead hasn't extended any, but it is likely going to as Snow struggles to farm under his tower if SCCB can continue to push it up. Obviously, Flamespitter, its damage is a little bit difficult to calculate for CS purposes when you're under that tower, so it's going to be hard for him once it gets to that point.
Yeah, and the biggest issue as well early on with the Flamespitter is not only is it inaccurate for farming under tower, but also because it doesn't necessarily do too much damage, you're not going to be able to clear the wave with one Flamespitter. So it can mean that if you use that Flamespitter to get a couple of CS, it can end up losing you 3 or 4 CS because the cooldown is too long in the early game for you to be able to just get 2 off straight away and clear the wave before the tower can get there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those pro Rumble players, you see them doing these weirdly placed, well, they look weirdly placed at first glance, Flamespitters, where they're kind of like facing diagonally away from the wave and they're just catching like the edge of it. And that's because they only want to put the Flamespitter damage down onto 1 or maybe 2 minions at a time to try and actually calculate how many CS they're going to be able to get. looking here, Snow is gonna. He's actually going to have to go back here, and he might need to teleport to lane depending on how quickly SCCB is able to push this up. This is the problem with the Rumble into Gnar matchup, and it's one that he decided to go for. Gnar was the first pick coming out of Logitech, the first pick in the entire game, in fact. So, Lat, though.
Deciding not to go for that one in the end. I thought we were going to see a roam up from Joazzi's there, but he's just going to go straight in and start taking away his jungler's wraiths, and this is going to start to get him a little bit ahead in CS. Obviously, Ari is in that mid lane pushing out the wave, so she's going to be a little bit ahead, but Syndra should be able to catch up. And if Syndra can keep this sort of farming both the lane and the jungle up, then she will start to get a significant advantage, but have to see if Ysera does do the same.
That was a really interesting decision, actually, out of Snow. He decided not to teleport back to lane, and as a result, he lost an entire minion wave to that tower. So clearly, PKP are thinking to themselves, we actually might need this TP early on, and it kind of makes sense when you're playing against a Pantheon to do that. Jay Kane, he's gonna hit 6 very soon.
In fact, he literally just has,
6. And because of that Grand Skyfall giving you the ability to gank from such a far distance away, having the teleport available on Snow to counter gank is very important. The problem is, SCCB, if he, is playing correctly and he has his Mega Gnar available, quite close after that teleport gank is coming up. And one thing that you might actually see happen here is that SCCB will say to Pantheon, look, I'm about to go Mega Gnar. If you want to go for a gank, now's the time to do it. I can use my Gnar or my stun in order to interrupt his TP. And then he can TP down, and Rumble doesn't have any hard CC. He's not going to be able to stop the teleport coming out of SCCB. So, at these high levels, players can actually coordinate their ganks to that level and make sure that they can stop the teleport.
Yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't see anything come out of Illusion on that Rengar in the bot lane. Obviously, 3 of the summoner spells were unavailable. The only summoner spell for that bot lane of the Logitech snipers was the heal, I believe, on La, or it might have been the flash. But now, obviously, all of those summoner spells are up again. He may have had an opportunity to go down and go for an early gank there and possibly even secure his team an early dragon, but decided not to go for that in the end. Both of these teams playing incredibly safe at this stage of the game.
Yeah, and I think, largely that is what you need to do, except for this bot lane, like you're saying, and Illusion knows this. He knows that this is the lane he's going to be able to get a kill in, if he can get a kill in any lane. Thrill of the Hunt is available, and Lat's actually pushing quite far up the lane here.
Oh, the Flay misses, though. It's not going to land, but we're going to see Illusion using his ult. He's going to jump in. There's the flash. There's a tidal wave hitting all 3 of them, though. Lat in the back line. He's trying to get onto Cat, but that's going to be the flash coming down. But the Grand Skyfall is going to be more than enough to pick up 1 kill. Now, Lat is going to be the focus for Cat, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to be a 2-for-1 so far. Illusion trying to get the hell out of there, but this is going to be Syndra meeting him halfway. They're going to be able to get away with this one. Looks like neither team going to go for the dragon off this.
Yeah, it's a little bit risky. Both of the top laners still have their teleport. Snow does have to go back here, but because of how long it might take, Log S to actually kill that dragon, he might have been able to buy and then teleport in, at which point he'd be able to use his gold a lot better.
Snow might get dived here. We are going to see Gnar going ham. That's the hyper. The ultimate from Rumble is going to go down, but it's not going to be nearly enough.
Yeah, he really needed one more tick on that equalizer to pick up that kill. Snow, being a little bit greedy there, he probably should have gone back when he originally wanted to. He assumed that because there was no Mega Gnar available for SCCB, he wasn't going to go all in. Normally, that's something that, Gnar needs in order to go all in. However, because Snow is so low already, and, SCCB, when he's in mini Gnar form, actually gets a big movement speed boost. That was what allowed him to get away from the tower at the last second and save his life. So really nice play there by him, and at this point he is so far ahead in that top lane. However,
Snow, we're going to see the flash stun actually come out from Kane. Josie's able to flash straight away from that one, though, and that's the second time we've seen that flash engage come out from Kane.
Yeah, I mean, he's really trying to put a lot of pressure down, and that's exactly what you need to be doing as a Pantheon. It's the thing that you excel at. Arguably, if you don't do a good enough job of putting pressure down in the early game, you're not really abusing that champion to his fullest potential, so he's doing a really good job. And you notice he's focusing on that middle and bottom lane rather than top. Top does not need the help right now. Top is already winning perfectly well, and actually didn't even have to burn his teleport to get down to that dragon, so now he can teleport back up to the top lane, and now he is going to be so far ahead of Snow in that CS. What Snow really needs, now that his teleport is available and SCCB's isn't, is to be able to find a gank, follow Illusion into a lane, and make something happen with that equalizer. That's really the method for Snow to catch up with SCCB here.
Yeah, and with that dragon coming across to Logitech Snipers, that is just going to snowball the lead significantly further ahead now. 2,500 gold in front of their opponents, and this early in the game, actually nearing the 3,000 gold mark, and this early in the game, that's a really big lead considering they just basically picked that up off being 2 kills ahead. Because of that top lane advantage, they were able to just force the dragon off the back of that, and really nice strategic play from Logitech just to force these objectives when they know they're slightly ahead and they know that their opponents don't want to fight.
Yeah, that is very true, and compositionally, you would expect this. You'd expect LogS to be excelling in the early game in comparison with PKP. They've got that Pantheon pick, they've got the Gnar, who's a crazy lane bully, they've got Ahri, who, you try and gank an Ahri and nothing's going to happen. Spirit Rush is just ridiculously good. And, it's interesting, actually, Ysera isn't
you're going to see the dive though. There's the man drop. PKP Snow is in a lot of trouble, but Kane's standing on the equalizer. He's going to go down. Now the bowler shot is going to land. This is going to be the red buff slow. No way he's going to get out of there. The wallop is not going to be enough, and that's 2 kills picked up.
That's definitely one of the ways you can bring that top lane back to at least even, get Illusion to go up there. And that was a really perfectly timed attempt, actually. Ooh, behind that hook just narrowly missing. But yeah, Illusion focusing some of his time in that top lane has definitely brought things back a little bit for their team. He actually picked up, a kill there, which is a big deal. Getting kills on Rengar early means that he is going to be exponentially more strong when he goes to gank other lanes, simply because of the fact that he scales so well. Snow, on the other hand, picking up that 1 kill, still, he's 1 kill, 1 death, and 1 assist to 1 kill and 1 death. And he's behind on CS. Ysera, though,
we see the assassination coming in. Ysera doing absolutely masses of damage, and this is going to be the ultimate coming through onto Catlet, but he's not going to be able to get there. The minion wave coming to save his life, but the TP coming down from Snow. He gets knocked straight up by the tidal wave, and LogS going to be able to get away with this one, or are they? The flash hook not quite going to land, but they're trying to commit to this. PKP going for this. A really nice double bubble. That's going to save Lat's life. The flash coming through as well, and beautiful disengage from the Logitech Snipers to get away with that one.
That is not good for PKP. The fact that Snow burned his teleport means that he's thrown away any chance of coming back into this top lane. Having got that kill, he might have been able to start farming under his tower properly, deal a little bit better with SCCP, but now that he's burned that teleport, it's going to be so hard for him. Ysera, though, might be going on to...
We're going to see Thresh in so much trouble. There's the charm. There's the Orb of Deception. Another kill coming through for Logitech Snipers. There's the top tower. And this is going to be the mid tower off the back of this as well.
Yeah, LogS are really starting to snowball a little bit here. And if PKP aren't careful, it could get out of control. They need to not get picked off like that. That's one of the things that if you look at LogS's team, they actually excel at. They're very good at picking up kills. You've got Gnar, who can come out of nowhere and stun you twice really rapidly. You've got Kane, who can jump. Oh, great Scat of the Week stun as soon as he lands from Grand Skyfall there. But, he can come out of nowhere and gank you. He's got a stun, a slow. Ysera, she's got the charm. She's very mobile. All of these champions are good at getting picks early on. And you don't want to be playing into that. You need to make sure you have great vision control. You need to make sure that, you're not roaming to places that you aren't sure you're going to be safe in, or at least places that you don't have backup when you go there. So PKP maybe not playing this matchup quite correctly early on, especially considering they're already at a disadvantage. They need to be very careful where they walk in the jungle.
They definitely do. And so far we've seen Logitech Snipers doing an excellent job at snowballing this. 5,000 gold ahead now. This early in the game, that's a pretty damn significant lead, and just straight off the back of a missed position by PKP, they take 3 towers. PKP committed 4 members into trying to catch them out in the bot lane, even using the top teleport while Dragon was down. So now PKP aren't going to have their teleport for the next Dragon as well. And this is just purely off the back of that bot lane engage. Logitech Snipers have snowballed such a huge lead off that, and I would expect them now to have the advantage for this upcoming dragon as well, although we have seen Snow walk down towards this.
One of the things that's going to give them a really big lead in this next fight is the fact that Hex Drinkers have been completed on both SCCB and J. Kane. The thing is, when you're going up against a double AP comp and you've got champions like Pantheon and Gnar, if you are behind and you build a Hex Drinker, it's not really the best item because it doesn't give you that much damage, and the magic shield, if the enemy AP carries are ahead, is just not huge. It's not really going to save you in a lot of circumstances. But they're actually already ahead, which means at this point, that extra damage is just icing on the cake, and they can really snowball fights very, very hard. So I really like the double Hex Drinker pickup on the side of Logas. It's going to give them a huge lead in a team fight.
Oh, we're going to see the threat of the hunt coming through. This is going to be light in a lot of trouble. The bowler shot not going to land. There it is, though. That's going to be the snare coming down, but he has so much damage. He's able to 1v1. There's the equalizer. Lat is going to go down. The kill coming across onto Snow. A 1-for-1 there. But with the jungler down, this could give Logitech a really strong edge for this dragon, and they could just go straight for this.
They definitely could, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did, especially because SCTB has teleport, whereas Snow does not. Snow is not going to be able to come down and help out. He doesn't have equalizer anyway. J. Kane, he is starting off this dragon, and no one's really in position to deal with it from PKP. They're trying to go over now, though. I wonder if they're going to be able to do anything about this.
Yeah. It's going to be a 3v3, but obviously the teleport is available. I don't think this is a fight that PKP want unless they get a catch. The bubble not quite going to land. Hot Dog positioning so aggressively, but there's the Gnar ultimate. It's going to stun. A really nice flash is going to get them out, but Thresh goes down. There's the charm to pick up the second kill. Ysera trying to chase onto Latte, but he's not going to be able to get there, and this is going to be definitely the dragon picked up along with 2 kills. Really nice play from Logitech.
Yeah, it was funny there, actually. SCCB's Gnar ultimate actually knocked them past the wall rather than into it.
It was the flash.
Still did a very good job of keeping them off of Ysera and J. Kane and Hot Dog so that they could actually, you know, get back into the fight and do damage rather than being CC'd up and killed, but not exactly as intended there, I think, from SCCB.
It was a really, really nice flash from Joazzi's. He managed to get the flash as the Gnar ultimate hit, so he went past the wall rather than into it, I think. But yeah, so now Logitech going to be able to push down this bottom lane tower and just snowballing this lead so hard. They're now 8,000 gold ahead at the 20-minute mark. That is huge with 2 dragons in their advantage. Obviously, teleport not available. Snow does have his available, but they're not in any position to even use that teleport to get a tower anywhere on the map at this stage.
Yeah, having 0 towers at this point for PKP is really, or 0 towers killed, I should say, is really not good for them because in addition to the fact that they don't have that global gold, having tower control when you're playing against a pick composition is really, really important because it gives you the vision that you require and the safe places to retreat to deal with the Grand Skyfall, though. Yeah,
Joazzi's with a beautiful scat of the week. He's actually going to nullify the stun from Kane. Really nice play there. But now he's positioning so aggressively. A bit of an overstatement there. This is going to be Thresh going to follow. 2 kills coming across for Logitech. The culling coming through. There's the last charge of Spirit Rush used to just try and get as close as possible. Ysera playing so aggressively here. And Logitech just looking untouchable right now.
That was an amazing scat of the week from Joazzi's, but it just wasn't quite enough. He probably shouldn't have stayed so aggressive after that happened. Lad actually playing so aggressive right now as well, going up and tanking tower shots when he's 2 versus 2 under the tower. I mean, you can tell that Logitech feel like they are miles ahead right now, and they're not wrong. They're almost 10k in the lead.
And I love the really aggressive positioning from Ho Hot Dog that game. Like, that fight, sorry. We saw Joazzi's obviously get the really nice scat of the week, and then he positioned too far forwards, and Ho Hot Dog was more than happy to just walk straight past him, use that wave, and then land the bubble off the back of it, and just secure that kill for his team. So, beautiful play by him to punish Joazzi's.
You know, it's interesting as well, Joazzi's knew how much of a bad spot he was in there. He didn't even try and use his ultimate. Even though he, the Hot Dog was relatively low health, but because of the exhaust, like, he didn't try and put damage down so that his team could follow up and just make the best of a bad situation that way. He just said, okay, I'm gonna die, but I'll be back in time for any next fight, and making sure I have my ultimate for that is more important. That's actually a really solid call by him, and it's not something that you see. That's one of those distinguishing things between maybe a plat player and a diamond player. It's one of those things where a lower level player would just say, oh man, I gotta try and get this kill, I gotta try and make the most out of this situation. Whereas, because he's so experienced, he knows that he should save it to make the most out of a later situation. That was a really solid play by Joe Azzies.
And we can see now, across the board, how far ahead Logitech snipers are getting. Look at the CS, not even ignoring the kills, right? 50 CS ahead in the top lane, 50 CS ahead in the bot lane, 25 CS ahead in the mid lane. Like, how do you come back from a lead this big?
It's going to be difficult. They've got the potential to do it purely because of the fact that Illusion can probably still pop someone. He's doing relatively well and compared to the rest of his team. He's 2-1-2. He's got that Feral Flare and Brutalizer. If he goes in and pops someone, they might be able to make a fight out of it. The problem is going to be SCCB, in my opinion. He is so tanky right now. The only person who can deal damage to him, or sorry, the only two people, are Illusion and Cat Latte. The problem is that Illusion is much better at picking off squishy targets, and Cat Latte only has a Triforce and a Cutlass. He doesn't even have boots right now. How's he going to catch up to a Gnar when he's hyper? It's just not possible.
I love the item choice as well from Gnar. He's just gone straight magic resist because he knows that Illusion doesn't want to focus him. That's exactly the wrong target, but we're going to see. Thresh gets obliterated. The Charm and Spirit Rush coming through. This is going to be the third charge of Spirit Rush, but not quite going to be able to connect there. And just picking up a free kill here. Logitech Snipers more than comfortable to start positioning towards this Baron. I believe they are going to go for this one, but we could see PKP going aggressive and pushing towards this mid lane. If they do, we are going to see the Baron started off. PKP not even going to push, though. They're going to try and contest for this one.
This is a risky decision. They do have the Equalizer, though. In fact, they've all got their ultimates available. That's the best case scenario for them when it comes to competing against this. But Mega Gnar's nearly there.
Oh, a Gnar ultimate coming through. There's the triple wallop. A beautiful stun. The health bars for Logitech getting very low here. Snow flashes forwards. Doesn't have his Zhonya's yet, though. J. Kane escaping on 10 HP. That's going to be Rumble going now for the first kill of the fight. Ysera just missing the charm onto Latte there. He's going to be able to get away, and Logitech surviving this fight with blinking health bars, but picking up another kill, and PKP just getting these fights and just not quite able to secure anything from them.
That was definitely what they wanted to do, though. Even though one person died, it was the right call purely because of the fact that maybe if someone had played like a teeny bit better, J. Kane would have died there and it would have been 1-for-1. And in addition to that, they stopped the Baron. If they give up a Baron at this point, they are, really in deep kimchi. It's going to be so hard for them to deal with that because everyone is already so far ahead on Log S that if they get that bonus ability power and attack damage, they're going to be shredding through PKP even harder than they are now. It's not something they can afford to give up at this point.
Do you know what
one kill is not worth a Baron at this point for them.
Do you know what the sad thing about that fight was? Snow didn't need to die. He had his Zhonya's.
Oh, that's pretty unfortunate. I mean, I think likely he might still have died to like a boulder toss, for example, or maybe an orb of deception, because at this highest level, the players know the timer on Zhonya's. They're going to be able to put something out as soon as it runs out. It's going to be a fight, though.
Kane does manage to get the man drop, though. Going to be able to get away from that one. No CC going to land on him, and going to go straight back. And that's the third dragon picked up for Logitech Snipers, and now 22,000. Oh, sorry, 12,000 gold. I can't count. 12,000 gold ahead for Logitech. This is going to be the first tower of the game finally going down for PKP. Sorry, a much needed objective for them. But now we're going to see CCB coming down from this top lane, heading towards this team, and that is not a fight that PKP want right now. They need to just get away from this as fast as possible.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they want to be fighting. Thankfully for them, CCB doesn't have any rage built up, so it's going to be hard for him to go in and make that engagement that he needs to. Obviously, if you look at J. Kane, look at his items right now. He's not building tanky at all. He's just got that Hex Drinker as his only defensive item. But they are starting off this Baron, and it doesn't really look like Snow's not in position to deal with this. He doesn't have teleport.
Pure lack of vision here. They don't even know for sure that this has been started right now, and this is going to go down. Ysera picking up a kill. onto Joazzy. Nothing he can do. Illusion jumping in, but he's not got the damage. He goes down as well. That's going to be 2 kills coming across. That's going to be the support and the top lane going down. Cat Latte, the last man standing. He uses the Valkyrie to get away. That's going to be the Scrying Orb, keeping the eyes on him. He should be able to get away safely from this one, although CCB trying to stop that happening, but 4 for 0 and a Baron coming across for Logitech. I don't think there's anything PKP can do to get back in this game right now.
I mean, if you look at Logos, they hardly even took any damage. Jake Kane was the only one that took any, and he went down to like 60, 70% health. That was crazy. They are so far ahead right now. And at this point, they're going to get this inhibitor, no questions asked. It's going to be on PKP to try and get something here. Actually, wow, Logos have to back out. I guess they're respecting Joazzy's ultimate here. That's probably the most threatening thing coming out. We're all going to see actually a replay. SCCB jumping in, getting a huge gnar there.
Yeah, the Tidal Wave coming across as well, doing a really, really strong job. Valkyrie obviously going to keep him safe, but the 4-man plus Baron is going to be so huge, and they picked up 2 towers off that, as well as the top lane inhibitor tower. That's going to mean with this Baron buff, they're going to be more than comfortable to just shove away in that top lane. Muscle force that, and as well, we've got the teleport available on CCB, so he's going to be happy to just push a different lane, get pressure elsewhere on the map, and then if anything does come of that, he can happily teleport into that fight.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things which is actually really strong about that Gnar pick in a meta where there's a lot of split pushing going on. Obviously, this is 4.19, so the changes to the inner and inhibitor towers, and Nexus towers, in fact, aren't in the game, so it's much easier to split push, and CCB on Gnar is a great split pusher. He has got mobility and kiting that lets him get away from almost any gank. If he gets low, there's a good chance he can time his Mega Gnar transformation to get him some health back. And he's also just got so much inherent damage because his attack speed is very high. He can shred through towers. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up some more damage after these tanky items, actually. He's finished up his Randuins, got the Banshee's Veil and the Hex Drinker. Maybe actually finishing up that Maw of Malmortius would be a good pickup next. Or he could go for something like a Yomu's or Last Whisper if he wants more damage.
Yeah, and I mean, you know how far behind you are when you saw the Illusion just got face checked by Ho Hot Dog and backed away. When your Rengar runs away from a 1v1 with an army because he's that scared that the team is going to be near and that's going to go down, but the charm coming out from Ysera isn't going to land. That's the ultimate down from Ysera. This could be good for PKP in an upcoming fight, but Lat using the Culling to try and get some damage down prior to a fight. Another charm coming through. Illusion getting chunked so low, and just the long range damage coming out from Logitech right now is just gonna force PKP back away from this inhibitor, and it could just take them this free objective.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for them to defend this, especially if Spirit Rush comes off cooldown. And the thing is, it's a long cooldown relative to sieging, but they've got the time. With the Baron buff, they can just siege for as long as they want.
Oh, a beautiful hook onto Ysera. That's going to be the box going down as well. The Zhonya's is going to be there, though. That's going to be 2 people getting absolutely obliterated. Nami picking up a double kill. Catlat having to use his Valkyrie to get out of there. CCB escaping on such little HP, but this is going to be Lat picking up another kill for himself. Now Joazzy's going to be on the front line. He has to flash away. The red buff is ticking away. There's the heal for the movement speed. Jumps forward, gets the double crit. Lat picking up yet another kill in this fight. 616 on that Lucian. The top inhibitor is going to go down. That's going to be the middle inhibitor going down as well. This could even be end. They're going to push for the Nexus Towers. I don't think Catlat can do anything about this one right now. All 4 members up for Logitech are going to be able to push these Nexus Towers. This is going to be game 1, ladies and gentlemen. Going across to Logitech Snipers. And PKB really not showing up in this game.
No, definitely not. A 20k gold lead in the end for Logos. That is insanity in 30 minutes. They just snowballed so hard through the early game. It was absolutely immense how well they played. They made so many great picks. They played their composition perfectly. And, you know, if I'm PKP right now, I'm thinking to myself, you know, 1, we need better vision control next game, and 2, I think we need a better champion select, because it seems like everyone was playing, you know, that composition perfectly on Logitech.
Yeah, and we saw some seriously upset faces on the side of PKP.